So if you think about what they're doing in terms of scaling up, if you remember Sailor's 21-21, it was an 80% dilution. So it was similar, but in terms of the amount of increase, there was no way that Sailor was going to be able to do 21 billion of CBs. So it was, if you think about it, it's really half what Metaplanet are doing, and then scaling 7. I mean, it's just absolutely massive. Sailor didn't have the same MNAV either that Metaplanet had when he executed the 21-21. So this is a level of aggression just significantly higher even than that very shocking to me back then in October 21 and 21 plan. So I really wanted to just highlight that to people, like level of aggression is something we've not seen before. So let's, talk about whether or not they buy it. Price doesn't move. We end up at an MNAV of 2 as the most conservative possible outcome. And obviously they're much smaller. So that 2 MNAV, we put them in line with Sailor, but this is a company that is, will be by that stage a tenth of the size and is way more aggressive. So there's no way they're going to be on a 2 times MNAV. If they are, there are so many more options open to them, convertible bonds, continuing put underwriting, even starting to tap maybe the pref market. But so let's say minimum, the MNAV goes to 3.5 times, puts market cap at 23 billion from 13 billion where we were at 2 times. So stock goes to $18, right? And then you think, well, all the additional things they're doing, I can't even see them being at a 3 times MNAV. So probably let's say 5 to 6, which is, I think, as you said, their target MNAV now. That takes them to a $25 to $30 price. That's with Bitcoin not moving. Now, as we know, with this amount of buying happening and everybody that's playing this game trying to buy even more Bitcoin and be even more aggressive, I just don't think there's any way in hell that we end up this year at where we are now. Like, it's impossible. Like, I don't trust the Bitcoin on exchanges number, but even if you give it a sort of a very low percentage probability of being accurate, we've seen Bitcoin balances on exchange drop by 1 million or 1.1 million since previous peak in 2021. You've also had another 1.1 million Bitcoin issued into the network. So you've had 2.2 million Bitcoin swallowed by the market over the last 4 years. And you're only left with, 1.2 million Bitcoin ever to be issued? I mean, we are on a ridiculous race to get the last Bitcoin through the door, which again comes back to the point where I said everyone just needs to be super aggressive and get as much Bitcoin as they can, because then the MNAV will expand when we move into phase 2 of what these companies are going to do with all that Bitcoin. And, I talked earlier about what we do to get more return just by having that Bitcoin sat there and putting it to work in the market. So I imagine that all of these companies are going to see that evolution. But to, move back to what we're talking about with the napkin maths, I think it's very hard to imagine that we're not going to be at 150, 200, which puts the price of Metaplanet at, 38 to 50, something like that. So 38 to 60, at a 6 times MNAV. So yeah, I mean, things can get really quite spicy. And then, put that all together with the fact that there's 28% of the stock short.
Yes.
And the Japanese love a bit of a frenzy. So everything is just perfectly aligned for this to push much, much higher.